Hey guys, welcome back to Parkitect. Today I'm going to be working on the new CoasterB Diorama challenge for February. And this month it's going to be a wooden coaster that was made by Dan Amblerly. He made the layout and helped with CoasterB, so this is an interesting layout. I always wanted to do a wooden coaster in one of these diorama challenges, and I think this is going to be quite an interesting one to kind of decorate, if you want to say. So there are some things I do want to say before we go into the time lapse. So this month I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do a full vanilla build in this diorama, so no construction anarchy is being used for the theme that I'm going to pick for the first one. And also I made a second diorama accidentally because I felt like I could do another theme. So there's actually two themes that I did, but the time lapse that you'll be seeing is only for the first one. The first one will be my pirate themed one called Kraken Grotto. So the first things before I actually jumped into this map was I needed to figure out my beginnings, you want to say, or my outline of things. Like, for example, like this thing down here, I knew I had to get rid of this type of support. I think it looks quite ugly, and they're all freaking out because I think Dan probably used Coaster Anarchy for this. I don't know about Track Edit. It kind of looks like Track Edit a little bit, but I don't think it is. I'm not really 100% sure. And also the other thing is that this depot here is in a way interesting spot, in a more difficult spot, because this thing is just bad decoration galore. So that was fun to kind of cover up and fix. So let's move on to doing the time lapse, and then I'll meet you there. Okay, here we are in the time lapse of Kraken Grotto. So the first couple things I did was, as you can see here, I'm just doing some terraforming to add some type of water lake. No, it's a grotto. So again, the map is called Kraken Grotto. So I felt like doing a pirate map theme this month, because I felt like I haven't done a real good, pirate theme in a while. So this was the decision to go forth, and just putting in the water kind of helped out where some of the key things go. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that one new rule was added for this month was the addition of a flat ride. So it's either a calm or a thrill ride. So I get to put a flat ride in here somewhere. So that was kind of the extra little thing. I would like more of that maybe in the challenges. That'd be cool. Or some other different type of challenge of some sort. So here, right now, I'm doing this interesting glass technique. This is something new I'm testing out some ideas to make the water either more crystal blue or something. So it's a full plate of glass roofs underneath, layered twice, so it has this dark blue, and it's just right below the surface of the water. So I felt like that was a interesting thing to do. It makes the water look different, and then adding the dark ash terrain paint to make it just darker in the lagoon part. So adding different terrain paint, making terrain just make it more unique, if you want to say it like that. The challenge in all of this was going without construction anarchy, so some certain techniques that I would usually do for either making rocks and stuff like that changes. So resizing a lot of things actually helps in connecting the gaps between two different height, or two different marker heights of objects. So that does help in that aspect. The covering up the map's entrance was kind of a challenge because I needed to figure out what I was going to work on. It was going to be a fort, but then the fort kind of changed from there. So yeah, just figuring out the path placement basically, and then figuring out where my flat ride's going to go. So I picked a wipeout. I think that was pretty appropriate for the type of theme that I went for, and I already had in place and ideas, especially with concept art too. I got tons of concept art. I think it's the best thing to do when you're building a theme of something, is to get a whole bunch of concept art and references and stuff like that. So this is where I need to build the first building of this little pirate village, because it's going to be a pirate village plus with some Kraken stuff and some other piratey things. So the story for this map is The pirates have a little grotto where they can park their ship and then resupply, but they also have a pet kraken that they feed, and these like 2 pits that are near the wooden coasters like helix and crossover part, so you'll see those later, but the idea was to have this like little story involved, and that actually helps in the dictation of like the map's design and the theming around it. So that's kind of what I went for. For building the station, just made 2 different types of rectangles kind of intersecting each other, and then I used the venture packs, temple root. Well, they're temple pieces, but I'm using them as roofs because they look like tiles. So this technique's been used before. I think Silverite made it first in one of the campaign levels for Taste of Adventure. It was what was the level? It was Timber Creek, I think. Yes, Timber Creek had this technique, so I do like this technique a lot. The only thing I add to it is, I think, some shapes on the top to kind of make like the cap of the tile, and then some other squares and cubes amongst the tile work to make it look like it's patched work or something. I can't quite remember what I did. This was built earlier this month because I was working on 2 dioramas at once, kind of, and then I was working on my American Adventure, and then I'm also now working on a new custom scenario that should come out before the end of February, hopefully. And I also have another idea of another, well, custom scenario, but that's other projects in the works. So as we skip ahead here, as you can see, all the little shapes and stuff on top of the roof was added. I did some interesting window decorations with some shapes and stuff. And keep in mind, this is all still vanilla Parkitect, so no construction anarchy. So I was quite surprised how like unique the building could be. So right now I'm trying to figure out the cover for the map entrance. So I'm going to use the tiles technique again from the wow, I'm losing words today, which is okay. It's Friday, so I'm kind of like ready for the weekend. So just kind of working on pillars and stuff. Now pillars don't work on edges of the map, so all those pillars in the back were all hand placed, which is annoying, but kind of how this game runs this way, just kind of how it works. And then I did a new shutter technique with the pyramid decoration piece from the Venture Pack. That was cool. I think that worked out really well. I think I've seen that on another technique somewhere too. I can't remember who did it first. But it's a cool technique. I think it's the best way to do a different type of shutter awning thing, basically. And then a smokestack or a chimney to help with the feel of this like little village. I wish I did more village, maybe. Maybe if I was a little bit more, I don't know. Maybe I could. I don't know. There's some things I could have done differently, but it's okay. I like the map in its entirety anyway, because there's a lot of like storytelling elements in it. Here's the little village, here's a house, here's the Kraken pits that they feed the Kraken, there's their pirate ship that they use, blah blah blah, all that cool stuff. So I'm trying to make an environment or a world around certain key buildings and stuff like that, because the buildings and the environment is supposed to tell you a story of what's going on, and then it goes from there. What else? Yeah, I'm just kind of just messing with. Oh yeah, this is a new thing I tried. So I made little bricks in the chimneys with using the cube piece at 0.10 on grid 10, and actually it adds a little bit more texture and detail on that chimney piece. Because I could have easily made the chimney piece out of shapes as well, or a different type of what's that piece called? It's like a corner brick piece from the industrial set. Yeah. Over here I did some interesting pillar stuff with fences. So I did the non-colorable wooden pillar plus a tire to add like a rope like attached to it or a connection. And that just I think is a cool idea, because the tire piece is actually quite unique to add to make it look like it's like tied together by a rope and or it's like tied. So that's what I did there. This thing with the rocks I'm trying to do, I decorated the entire the entire map's border with rocks to give it that diorama feel. And it's really cool because the rocks can be oversized and they can overhang in the abyss, and it makes it look like a diorama, like a little model. So I think that's a really cool thing to do. So on to the first big like thing you want to call it. Again, this is just me. I have to do a vehicle of some sort out of custom pieces and shapes and walls. So this is going to be our pirate ship for the map. It's our centerpiece in a way. And I just kind of based it off the pirate ships that I've built before. Just I wanted to make it a little different. Now the difficulty with this one was that I didn't use construction anarchy. So because the pirate ships that I've built before in the past were all used construction anarchy and vanilla assets. But this time around I had to do it without it, so kind of was a challenge. But it's very feasible to make a pirate ship. It's like not... If you can get around the strictness of the game's like grid system and some of the items, I use mostly shapes and stuff to kind of get around that, and that was kind of the objective. But for example, like for building the sails, cross beams that will actually hold the sails, I wanted to use borders, so I kept in mind that I needed to make sure that the masts were on a grid section, so because borders cannot leave the edges of grid spaces, same thing with walls. So those are your locked pieces, and then everything else is usually off grid, but then can be snapped to grid if you want to get that more precise placement, or you need to do a lineup better. So that was kind of the forethought in building where the sails were. I also wanted to try to do sails that were diagonal, but I felt like that only works if both sails were diagonal, and I didn't really feel like doing diagonal work, because diagonal work is really hard in Parkitect. I might want to try doing more diagonal work in the future. I think that would be neat to do some type of diagonal building or some diagonal prop, because we do have shapes now at 45, so that would be actually really neat. I think I need to try that. Maybe, well, I have a new section for American Adventure in the works, so maybe I might test it there. That'd be cool. Or test it in the next CoasterB Diorama challenge, probably too, because I'm assuming we're having another one in March. But yeah, this challenge this month was actually quite easy to execute after you have your theming down, and then you go from there. And for being such a small map, it was kind of easy to kind of complete it, and I was surprised I was able to do 2 maps this month. The second map, I'm going to also discuss that a little bit, is a sci-fi themed one, and that one I used construction anarchy, and I used a couple mods for the first time, so I wanted to see what I can do with some mods. I gave myself I picked like 5 mods, and then I went and used those mods to make that map. So I kind of like the idea of like limiting yourself with the mods instead of like, you know, doing all of the mods, because right now there's like 189 mods on the workshop, and I feel like having that many mods is like super overwhelming. And I also feel like when you use one piece from a mod, you have to have that mod installed, and I feel like that's not enough to have that mod installed. So I want to use more than one piece from a mod to consider it an addition to a map, because people still have to download those mods to then download your map. Like right now with the new scenario that I'm working on, I'm contemplating on using a mod in a custom scenario, but again, I don't want to, because I don't want to require people to download a mod if they don't want to, just to play with my scenario, because I want everybody to play it. And that was kind of the point, but I'm still debating on that. I'm not sure if that would be a good thing, but I might need those mods. See, I'm in this weird predicament, but I'm probably gonna use that mod for that map. Yeah, I'm gonna use a mod. I'm gonna use a mod for a scenario for the first time. Wow. Okay, we'll see how that goes. I think it'll be fine if I did 1 or 2 mods, not like a whole bunch. Because when you do a whole bunch, it's just overwhelming on the state of like actually loading the map, because I get, how do I say this? I get very like reluctant to download a map if I see it has like 17 mods installed, because it's like, oh, that means I have to go through my mods list and enable them, and or go find them, and then if I don't want them enabled more. I have to go through the list again. It's so hard to go through the mod list right now. There needs to be a better way to go through it. Maybe an alphabetical system that you can enable, like a sorting feature, or maybe sort through newest installed. I don't know, but yeah, the mod menu needs a work, and I feel like it's a little chunky still since it was enabled and added a while ago. So that's my little rant about the mod scene. But I do like mods; they're useful in certain circumstances. They are good, so I'm not afraid of them. So over here, I'm going to build a very cliche thing, a skull rock, because again, it is a pirate theme. Skull rock needs to happen. So I've built a good number of these now. This time I wanted to do it at a different, like at an angle, so that it's kind of inviting to the port, and it's kind of just like in the rocks near the coasters. 2 pool areas that I built, and I think this actually worked out really well. The skull rock was fun. Nothing like new intuitive I've found designs. It's just finding different ways to make the nose, the eyes, and then the teeth all out of rocks. I was going to do a mixture of shapes, but I think I used the shapes for the eyes and the nose just to darken up the area, and then rocks and stuff to kind of just shape out the eyes. Again, it's like just sculpting with rocks. That's kind of what I do. And then I think I did some water effects on it to make it look like it's leaking or something. Yeah, I think it looks nice. It looks kind of terrifying, a little inviting. Who knows what you want to call it. Yeah, and then I was just messing around with teeth placement. That was the difficult thing for some reason. Yeah, here's some of the water thing effects I wanted to try. Doing some jets of water, but I haven't really found a really useful thing of those jets of waters that could attach themselves to surfaces yet. I will, but it's kind of hard to utilize them. And then more rock work, as usual, because this whole map kind of evolves around it a little bit. So I'm doing the edges of the map, giving this like interesting border feel. Oh, I just realized that I made my time lapse cut out of order. How funny. So we're probably going to go back in time to go see the building of the fort over the depot, because I felt like that there needed to be some type of abandoned fort that the pirates kind of occupied, and they use it for their resupply or their ammunitions or treasure or whatever you want to call it. But right now, first is going to be doing the feeding pits for the Kraken. So it's all made of wood and stuff, and kind of just built together out of the pieces, and I just kind of went from there. Yeah. Those 4 pillars you see near the rocks, that's nothing. That was going to be like a seeing tower or a lookout tower that later just got removed. There were some features that I removed from this map because I felt like it was either too much going on or just not enough of it to do something good for it. It's that's kind of how I would explain it. But this is just rock work edges. Yeah, this is like toward the end of my build session when I was working on it earlier this month. Yeah, dead guy in the corner, always needs that. Some treasure, some seaweed made out of the vines, because I think those are the best pieces to simulate seaweed. And then some trees and bushes, all that good stuff that I worked on, because that's what you need, is all that force. So that's what makes it piratey, kind of, in a way. So, wow. Can't believe I made this footage out of order. And it happens when I'm editing. I don't really sometimes pay attention. It's okay. Over here was the wipeout. Kind of decorated it a little bit. Didn't really want to cover it because, again, it should be shown. Again, this is supposed to be a theme park, or an additional to a theme park, but I also made it look like a diorama at the same time, so I think it worked out pretty well. I can't wait to see what this month's provides from people who made some stuff. I want to see how people deal with the coaster. I saw some really good ones over the last couple weeks being posted on the Discord and the Reddit. I think there was one that's like themed to like the World's Fair. No, not World's Fair. It's like it's called Electric City. So it's like modeled after like the 50s, and it's like the showing of the Renaissance. Not Renaissance. It's more like oh shoot, what's the word? I forgot. There's a word for it. It's okay. I'm gonna let that slide because I forgot. I'm actually like forgetting what's going on. Here's the back in time. See, now we're doing the fort has to cover up this wonderful depot. This was mean, I say. So I think Dan put this in, unless CoasterB did. I'm not either or. I'm gonna say it's mean because they stuck the depot right below the chain lift, and it's just like, how am I supposed to cover this? This thing gives off so much bad decoration that the coaster itself is in bad decoration right now until you actually cover it. So, yeah, good job, guys. Thank you for putting the depot in such a odd spot. But I like the challenge though. I think there needs to be more maps in the future that will do this and kind of force players to decorate that depot and cover it. This little hut here with the bathroom that I covered up, I tested out a new thing that I saw on the Discord and the Reddit, that someone used plants and colored it like yellowish to a hay, and they made it look like thatched roofing, and that's brilliant. I didn't think that would actually work, and it was just kind of a test down there to do so. So I did. I tested it out. I think it looks good. And then on to just trying to figure out what the shape of my building is supposed to be. That was kind of the challenge here first. Lowering some of the wooden paths and stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, just working on this stuff, basically. I have nothing else to talk about. This is not good. Oh, doing a new type of... Oh, I was going to do it, and then I changed my mind. Yep. Testing out shapes. Again. Those trees were just kind of placed out there so that I can plant them again after I did some reworking of the walls. I want to make sure that nothing looks too square-like because, again, I am on vanilla Parkitect, so all the walls are snapped to grid. So I kind of have to figure out a way to make the walls look unique or like organic in placement versus just making square after square or rectangle after rectangle. Kind of the challenge here. I went from, I think, 1 to 2 spires, and then I finally went to 3. And then I did the final covering, and that's where things start like evolving into itself on how it should look. Yeah, I think it looks good so far. Well, there's really not much going on to this thing. So, yeah. Yeah, there's testing out these different cornered brick detailing. Just trying things out. I think it looks good. Nothing. I have nothing to like add to a castle. I've done castles before in the past, but not like heavily. Castles are kind of that castle thing to do. I also wanted to make sure that when I got to like the higher parts of the towers will get smaller, because that's what would happen. I think realistically, towers will get smaller because you don't want them at top heavy on top or something. You want to call it like that. And then I did some custom windows here out of shapes and medieval pillars, and then shapes to make a darkened portal. That worked out really well, actually. And then, because not the medieval, these are the temple walls. Yeah, the temple walls don't have windows. They have arches, but no windows. So kind of adding my own windows was kind of the point I needed to actually put those in. So that's what I did there. Probably just sitting here thinking of what to do next. Okay, so yeah, there I go. See, I just kind of sit and just stare at things. That's most of my time building, is staring and trying to figure out what's the next step to do. And then maybe experiment a little bit, delete it, and then go again. So it looks like if I do build fast. I mean, I do build fast, but sometimes it takes forever to get started, and I don't really have a tip on how to just get you going. Maybe just listening to music. Concept art references is always the best thing to do. If you're out of ideas, just copy something. Honestly, I think that's the best way to go. I copy a lot of things, and then I add a twist to it. Like either change the color or change the the size of it, or I change a detail here, things like that. So this is like a, what's this top, I would call it? Like, it's like a circle domed stone top. I wanted to give some different feel to this castle. More Spanish focused, I think. And using the diagonal pieces actually really helped out with that. I copied that piece 3 times, and then I placed it 3 times, so I think that was a really cool way to go. But as the castle kind of grows in its stature, kind of starts building itself after you get some of the key features in. Yeah, see, I'm trying to get the blueprint done, and then I get the blueprint, and then poof, done. So blueprint's always the best way to go to copy things. Even though I've heard the request of people asking for a copy and paste system, but I don't know how hard that would be to implement in a game like this, especially how old it is right now. I think a new DLC would be beneficial for this game, a new one. I think that would be cool. I don't know. I think there's some things you can still add to this game. Probably some new roller coasters, maybe some unique flat rides, and maybe a new theme pack, but maybe an extension to the sci-fi theme. That'd be cool. But again, mods kind of already fill that out, so it's kind of hard to determine what this game needs. Unless you can add a new game mechanic, then you can maybe add that in as a free update, not included with a DLC, but in conjunction with a DLC announcement or something. You can add a new type of mechanic, but I think the game's pretty rounded out now. Yeah. So just working on this little hut on top of the castle. It's kind of part of the castle's infrastructure, you want to call it. Just making it very colonial, pirate themed. Your colors are usually light tan, stucco walls to a tile roofing. Yeah, nothing far-fetched. Again, I used a lot of concept art. It's kind of the theme this episode is concept art. Always go for it. Do a little bit of research before you actually start into a project, and then you just go from there. I probably would do the same if I jumped into Planet Coaster. Probably get a whole bunch of reference art and concept art or something, and then pick my theme and then try to build it from there. But I expect Planet Coaster to take longer for projects versus Parkitect. Because Parkitect is actually pretty easy to kind of just plop down things and move. With Planet Coaster, it's kind of that nitpicking, placing things precisely, and then going from the next thing. So I don't know how long a project would take me on Planet Coaster versus Parkitect. Even though my American Adventure Park's been taking almost over a year now at this point. So again, I'm also trying to be very detail oriented in all of the things that I work on. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do a Planet Coaster video or something, or maybe a Planet Zoo in the future, because I've been thinking about jumping into those games someday. Or maybe some other new game comes out. Who knows? Because I know there's a new game that's being made that's probably coming out this year called Prehistoric Kingdom. I keep my eye on that one because that's like more of a Jurassic World evolution type game. And so I kind of will see how that goes. I think that's built by some type of indie company. I want to see how that goes. I'm excited for that game. So those are just kind of my random thoughts about what's coming up for anything that's building-esque related. Yeah, this is just kind of what my thoughts are on right now in the current situation of simulation games. So there's my wonderful little fortress or pirate fort hideaway for the pirates. Did the brick technique again on the chimney, and then vines growing on it to give it that overgrowth, and the pirates didn't really take care of their own things because they're pirates. Pirates are there to get drunk and get treasure. Yeah, that's what pirates do. So yeah, just kind of going around and making sure things are in good details, and changing the colors of trees and things also cuts up the repeatingness of it. And now finally onto building some tentacles for the Kraken in the feeding pits. So at this point, you can say there's 2 Krakens in this map, so one in each pit. But also, it could be one giant Kraken underneath the grotto, kind of poking its tentacles out to get the food or whatever it needs to. But it could be 2. I really don't mind, but it was just kind of, I needed to build some type of tentacles out of shapes, so I went kind of, I don't know why you say crazy, but I went pretty detailed with them because there's a lot of shapes in these. So spheres for most of its structure, adding a different colored belly at the bottom, and then doing a cylinders to kind of simulate the suction parts of the tentacle, and then kind of just stacked them up, and then added more cylinders or discs for a darkened part, and then I went from there. So I kind of did that on all, I think I have 5. Yes, there's 3 in one and 2 in the other. I think I did 5 tentacles in total. I think a Kraken or a giant squid has 10, so there's some missing, but I don't need all of them because I think it would just be too much going on. So I kind of just went for enough to just to give you the impression that there's something here, one to eat, and then go from there. So yeah, that's pretty good so far. And then some more support work. See, with this build, I just realized no custom supporting had to happen. Even though I did some custom supporting with the wooden stuff, or the wooden pillars and struts, but yeah, no custom supporting, which I like. So it's a good thing. I know that like next month it's going to be some type of steel coaster or something, and I have to custom support it, so that's going to be fun. But yeah, adding some random details here and there, some other stuff. But yeah, I'm going to leave you here for the last couple, minute or so. It's just a minute. And I will meet you in a live tour of both maps. Even though I didn't record the second map, you'll get to see it then. So I'll see you over there. Hey, welcome to Kraken Grotto, the first map that I worked on for this month's Diorama build. So we're just going to take a small tour around. It's really not a lot on these maps because they're so small, but I still try to pack them full of detail. And of course it starts raining. At least you can see it at night though. I think that's a good thing. But yeah, it looks pretty interesting at night too, actually. How convenient. Yeah, so this is just Kraken Grotto. Just close up on some key features. So here's the station for, did I call it this? I just call it Kraken Grotto too, okay. So this is just the station. Here's some of the close-ups of it. Yeah, ghosts will not ride it because it's raining. Oh well. There's a transfer track in the back that I wanted to add. So there's a shed underneath this rock work here. Then the train climbs up on the first chain lift, the only chain lift, over the little, what do you want to call this, a fort. And then it dips and then does its thing around into the Kraken pits areas. Just watch the train go by. Yeah, I find these pretty cool. Yep, I made 5 tentacles for the Kraken. And then here's the pirate ship. Wow, this rain's... Oh, yeah, now the rain's gone. The moment I say it, it disappears. So here's the pirate ship. I think the pirate ship looks pretty good. I added some of these flags here to add some more drapery of stuff. This paths are really, really congested, but kind of is when you just kind of force guests in your park. But yeah, here's Kraken Grotto. And then let's load into the next map. Probably would be the next thing, would be this one. So the next map is called Planet T26. Oh, wrong one. Whoopsie daisies. Oh, this one. Okay, here's the next map. This is called Planet T26. So this was the second rendition of the same coaster. I just wanted to see what I could do, and I had some mods installed. So I think the mods were Sci-fi tech, The SpongeBob one, I can't remember I'm trying to remember the other ones I used. But regardless, I wanted to do a sci-fi theme around a wooden coaster, so I decided to kind of, you know, test out that idea. So yeah, this is just kind of a quick thing to do. This was done in 3 days, I think. This map was super quick. So I just went for a very crazy sci-fi feel. Is this right open? Yeah. So in this chance, there's actually a motion simulator inside this purple building, plus a monorail ride that actually goes around the top here. Hopefully the ride goes around and you can see it, because it's hidden underneath this. There's rock work and stuff. Oh, I think I hear it moving. Hold on, let's go see. Yeah, this is the sci-fi map. I think this was a fun one to do. It's just kind of just testing out some different things with some scenery pieces. I do like these big fan things. Those are cool. Some of the barrels from the Resort Tech I think I used. Yeah, these are from Resort Tech I think. And then the sci-fi rocks. I think some of this is from the pirate set too. These rocks. I can't. Ice Attack I think is also part of it too. Oh, there's the monorail. You can see it right there. Kind of going. It's like a people mover. So I kind of wanted to make this like people mover type of thing. So yeah, that's what I did. I wish I recorded this, but I kind of was lazy to record it, so it didn't happen. So yeah, this is the wonderful little sci-fi map. So they're both on the workshop. Go check them out. But they will be probably showcased in the CoasterB video. And yeah, I will catch you guys in another episode. Probably an American Adventure one, maybe. So catch you then. Bye.